Hey, this is Matt once again with the Bets in the video, and this is a paid request for James. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for Chinese Democracy, the Guns N' Roses album, which is the sixth and so far last one that they've done. Now, the history behind this is, I think, a bit more interesting than the album itself, because they did 5 albums. Appetite for Destruction, which was really good. You got classics like Welcome to the Jungle, Paradise City, Sweet Child of Mine, Knock People's Socks Out, Knock Them Right Off Their Body. Then they had Lies, which I keep thinking, not Paradise, there's a Patience, I believe it's called Patience. Remember liking that song. And then you had Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. There's a couple of songs there I like. Their version of Knocking on Heaven's Door being one of them. And then you had one called the Spaghetti something, which was kind of cover songs. I want to say a punk or other type of music, but they're all like cover songs. And then nothing since like 1993. So 14, 15 years later, you finally get Chinese Democracy, and apparently it went through all ups and downs, and songs being written, and songs being recorded, and apparently if you add it up, it became like the second most expensive album to make, by $13 million. I think the first one was Michael Jackson, of course, but the second one was this one. Slash had left, which is a big detriment, because Slash is Guns N' Roses. I know Axl Rose is Guns N' Roses, but so is Slash. When you don't have Slash, to me it's not really Guns N' Roses. I know I'm the guy that likes Metallica, and I like some of the different stuff they did. In fact, I prefer the Black Album and Load. Those are my two favorite albums, which are fairly different from their early work, but they're still the same, like, for the most part, other than, I think, the bass guy. For the most part, it's the same, and you have your two main names, James Hetfield and Lars Ulrich. Here, seemed like the only one left was Axl Rose. Could be wrong on that. And the only song they did from 93 to this point was Oh My God for End of Days, which I actually liked that song. I remember, this is a tangent, we had gotten cable. One of the things I would watch was that channel, because they would actually have a 30-minute coming attractions. This is before YouTube. This is before that stuff, where now you just find a trailer just like that, but I love watching movie trailers. I love seeing movie trailers. And the only way would be this, and at one of those times, it also kept me in track of what was coming out. And one was this Arnold Schwarzenegger film, and it's a horror film, like satanic horror, but action and guns and explosions. Like, what is this? And during the trailer, it's like, oh my God, I can't deny this. I've been taught just to murder and fight this, to bury you deeper where nobody could find you. I love that song. A lot of people didn't, but I do. I love the movie, I love the song. It's actually in my top 5 favorite Guns N' Roses songs. And that was different from what they did before, but this, it's not the worst album ever, but there's not one song that I went, I loved it, or I liked it. It's definitely trying to be a very different sound, which is not always a bad thing. Again, go back to what I said about Metallica. And I know this has a following. There are people who do enjoy it and do feel it's underrated, but for me, the industrial rock, and I want to say grunge, but it's not grunge, like the stuff they were going with, and it definitely disappointed fans because they were expecting more of the Welcome to the Jungle, high octane, tracks, and it's not the case for the most part. A little bit quiet or a little bit more piano and guitar. It's definitely not what people expected. It was nice that some of the songs you got Buckethead doing the guitar work. Granted, it still doesn't replace Slash, but Buckethead is still has some nice riffs in here throughout a couple of the songs. Axl Rose, he doesn't do. I mean, I would say there's more of a low tempo pitch to him than the higher pitch. That is when you think of Paradise City and Welcome to the Jungle, that type of Axl Rose voice. From time to time he has this, but it's a lot more at times low key. And definitely some weird choices in here. You know, number one, Chinese Democracy. It starts with these sounds and of course the Chinese language being said, and again there's some nice Buckethead riffs there. Some people don't even like the album. They would say they at least like this song, but I'm sitting there going, I don't know, it's not the worst I've ever heard, but just not that I would ever listen to again. Shackler's Revenge sounds like the guitar itself had a stroke. You know, I don't mind the chorus. Don't believe there's a reason. But again, not gun-ho about it. Better. You have this like alarm sounding opening. I'm like, I would say those are more of the rock songs, the first three. Then after that, they get a bit slower. Streets of Dreams, softer piano. It just felt schizo. Like that one felt like it wanted to be November Rain, but it's not. Because you don't have Slash. And November Rain is just a much better song, especially that great bit of Slash. So he was definitely missed on this album. And I was like, Streets of Dreams just felt like they wanted to do another November Rain, but just not nearly as good, at least to me. If the World, more slow guitar, drum work. There was a time, I guess, of the album, that's the one I didn't mind. You have a bit of this hip-hop beats with it. You also have a bit of a melody with the guitar work. It was the wrong time for you. It was the wrong time for me. Like, if there's a song I had to listen to again, I would probably pick that one. But Catching the Rye, what I remember for that is there's a bit where there's a na 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 na. I have to think that hardcore fans of Guns N' Roses might have been like throwing themselves out the window hearing this, going, what the fuck? Just throw themselves right out the window. Madagascar is a weird one because like the song goes and then at one point it stops and you hear all these different voices from movies, and sometimes it was hard to understand what they were saying because like the music was drowning out the voice. I caught, of course, Martin Luther King's speech. I say of course as if you expect that, but I could understand that in terms of I recognized it was Martin Luther King. Why it's in that song, I have no idea. Michael J. Fox from Casualties of War. Everybody acted like we could do anything. And I'm sitting there going, why the hell? I wonder if Michael J. Fox knows he's in a Guns N' Roses song. If you want to call this Guns N' Roses. I think there was one for Cool Hand Luke. I read up that apparently there's also bits from Seven and Braveheart. I could not recognize those though. There might have been some of the voice that was drowned out by the music. This I Love. I guess that's one. Other Other than There Was a Time, that's maybe the other one I don't mind. Much more softer, like piano, guitar, much more trying to be emotion filled and emotion fueled. Now I know why, and now I don't know why she wouldn't say goodbye. But then it seems that I had seen it in her eyes. Maybe her eyes was like, Axel, don't do this damn album, man. Waste of money. I mean, I don't know if this made money, especially with how much it cost. But it doesn't seem like there's been a big demand for more Guns N' Roses stuff. Because this was 2008. All year about Axl Rose is him either like changing his face or being a dick or other stuff. Other than last song's Prostitute. Which is funny because I know one of the other bad stories, like Dr. Pepper, had a theme with this, and I don't know if it's true, but it may sound like that Dr. Pepper helped get this released. I know there's some kind of thing where Dr. Pepper said, if this will get released, we'll give everyone free Dr. Pepper, but then they kind of went back on the deal, and you had like, oh, actually, you gotta go on a website and get a coupon. But then on the very day people tried, the website didn't work, but maybe a few people got a coupon, so Dr. Pepper didn't hold on to their own. They should hold on to their dicks. Well, maybe they're so ended up they couldn't do that. They can't find it. It's like Axl Rose. I don't know. Axl Rose just seems like a prick. Maybe it's just me. But yeah, this album just did nothing for me. I just say it's not the worst album I've heard, but other than bits of Axl Rose's voice, you would never know it was Guns N' Roses. I mean, even when like Scott Stapp did his own album away from Creed, number one, I actually liked that album, and number two, you still kind of had that feeling of Creed. And there was some good songs. Do you know how it feels like to be broken and used, scared and confused? And then I think some of the band members went was an Alter Bridge, and you still like got that feeling. There's some good songs in there too, Alter Bridge. This though, like I said, I know some people enjoy. They do think it's underrated. To me, like I said, it's not the worst album ever, but man, I would never listen to this album again. Never. And I guess maybe Axl Rose felt he wanted to do something a bit different. I can understand that. But even I know I like Load. I like the first half of Reload. Metallica tried to do something different, and they were not the most popular albums. Even I know that. Granted, I'm still glad they exist because there's still a lot of songs and they're my favorite Metallica songs. But they still had some like good beats and good determination, and it felt like after the third song, every one of them ones afterwards sounded more and more wimpy. And don't get me wrong, some of the when they do some more emotional, I don't mind it. Like I forget what the song was called. James Hetfield talking about his mom, and it was either Load or Reload. It was one of those two. I didn't mind that. But it didn't feel like every single song for, I don't know, 2/3 of the album was kind of that same direction. And like, I don't know. Like I said, Street of Dreams felt like a lesser November Rain. Shackler's Revenge, like I said, the guitar itself, I think it had a stroke. If you liked it, that's fine, just not for me. But with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.